Okay, guys, let's move it along. Race number 5 on the card. I want to go back there. It's a Group 3, the J-Swap Sprint over the 1,400 metres. Yes, it's tricky. We've got the emergency on the bench here, Steve, or am I?
Yeah, the Mare Providence Provides heads to market 450. Little money around her purely because she fits in that profile on the bench yet to get a race start time. So she's looking for that key scratch. And Cosi Asano is engaged, so they're very keen to get a start. Providence Provides in the Tony Pike clan. Brando has been the best back runner. As we mentioned, 7 days ago, was heavily punted over the 1,600 metres into Captain Cook. They've decided to drop it back to handicap conditions, 1,400. $6 we offered on Wednesday afternoon, now trading 4.8. Not at the head, no jockey as yet, $5.50, third line. The Nazza bouncing between 6 and 6.50. Dragon Leap, Awkward Gate, gone out of turn, 6.50 to 7. Poissegur at $9 off a peak of 10. Packing Rockstar 9 out to 10. Stablemate and Vigor Winner also 9 out to 10. Arunda Perfection also a $10 price, and Raposa Repeater best of the rest at 15. So a couple that have been well played, but clearly the best lead once again sits with Brando, OP Boss and Jamie Richards, 6 into 4.8.
I didn't think about this BP before we came to tape this show on Thursday afternoon. By the time this goes out, boys, we're probably going to look like gooses. We'll know whether Providence Provides is in or out or otherwise. So it does make it a little bit tricky. But what do you think about the J-Swap? Brando well backed again.
Yeah, well, if you go on last week, Brando was really well supported in the Captain Cook. So there was that early confidence. And look, as we spoke about, maybe it was around his price with where he was sitting in the market. That had maybe more to do with it than, in terms of his realistic price, realistic chance in the race. I think this race is certainly more of a winnable race for him, but it's not just served up to him on a platter at the same time. He has the right draw. He comes back to a venue that he knows and he's unbeaten at. So they're all good reasons why you can be in his camp around Brando. Look, you'd have to just try and go with Providence Provides running at this stage. And that's how you've obviously framed the market around this horse. And look, going off what she's done on her Christchurch campaign, I just love how she's arrived into this season as a 4-year-old mare. She obviously kicked it off with a really dominant victory, and then she's carried on that upward plane, and she was placed in a race where she should have won. I mean, in the Valachi Downs when she was in front clear, and then just all of a sudden hit the rail when it looked all parcelled up. So look, she's come back with a slight little freshen. The other horse that creates interest in this race is Vanazza, runner number 16. Of course, a Group 1 performer as a 2-year-old, has raced well in those returning races. Again, this is just a touch drop back from what she's competed in, but she has the barrier draw of 1. And then you start looking towards horses like Poissegur, who looks to be a chance. And then Dragon Leap. I mean, what do we do with Dragon Leap? He's a horse who's drawn awkwardly. He's a runner that, look, they've had their on and off issues since Hawke's Bay. That's the reason why we haven't seen him since the Tarzino, when, look, he was impeded. Track conditions was probably against him. It started pushing into a bracket that he didn't like. He still ran well. They've been able to get on top of his issues. A good little hit out last week on his home track. This barrier draws off-putting, isn't it? I mean, he's going to have to run neutral, and he's going to have to come past all runners. We know he's capable, but it might be a case of just sitting and waiting for another race for him and watching him finish well and hit the line. So, yeah, at this stage, I'm leaning towards Brando.
Yeah, we couldn't blame you. Richards, Boston is not a bad combination, as you keep pointing out, Paul.
Well, the money just keeps following those two. It's a very lethal combination. Yeah. Back to the top, though, Providence Provides, as we saw down in Riccarton, at the 150 mark, I was walking to the window. At the 100 mark, I was jumping out the window. Fair dinkum. It was just, she only just touched that rail, and it just put her completely off stride.
Yeah, it did.
And she lost all momentum.
It was a bad beat. And the pantheon of bad beats that's in there, isn't it?
That was right up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously, it looks like she's going to make the field.
Yeah, they'll get one, surely.
It looks like they're fairly confident that she'll make the field. Yeah. And she certainly deserves to be favourite there. Yeah. Obviously, the money for Brando, Opie and Jamie Richards, you got to have Brando in there somewhere. Vanessa's the interesting
runner. Mentioned it, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess, just missing that 3-year-old season. It'll be just interesting to see where she lands here.
Yeah.
I'm willing to just sit and watch this time round. I don't mind the look of Packing Rockstar. The 2 seconds since resuming, I thought have been pretty good, and they've been behind a couple of smart ones, Gold Watch and Tabby Max. So not the worst. Beat Just a Canter last season, who went down the straight at Flemington.
That is a beautiful form thread.
On Derby Day.
Yeah, very good form thread. Yeah, Patrick Payne, wasn't it? Yeah.
Indeed. So, yeah, Packing Rockstar, I've slotted in there somewhere as well.
Okay.
But, yeah, I hope that Providence Provides actually gets round without any trouble this time.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be a huge chance. Steve, look, I probably glanced my over this race and I thought, oh, yeah, hello. But the more I look at it, the better this race is. Tricky when you've got the favourite as the first ballot. And, yeah, how did you approach it, I suppose, is what I'm asking.
Well, just punting into this market, just be wary, punters, because
exactly.
you're playing with Emergency, who's sitting at a 22% chance. So if it makes the field and, for example, you get a 2-3% probability coming out, you're playing into a decent percentage overall. But that's the gamble you're taking at this stage. It is a sticky race. Brando, look, I'm not surprised they've gone to open handicap conditions here. V, the Captain Cook, better suited in terms of weights and measures. V, weight for age. Just gives them a little bit more option too, Brando, going forward. 1400, do they drop back to a railway or a Rich Hill? I think they'll make a call on that post this race. But V, if it started over at the 1600 metres, would have been a lot more difficult for Brando to freshen up to 1200. But look, he's got that strong SP. Just comes out of a horrible race, as I mentioned, at Tauranga. Rated well below open class, 4.5 lengths below class. So, albeit that was a heavy track for Brando, so probably just didn't quite suit him. Not at the head. I've been a big fan of this horse ever since it produced that figure at Hastings on the first day of the carnival, 1.9 lengths above open class standard, even though it was in rating 65 grade. He's won 2 races post that victory at Hastings. He's had 2 genuine excuses this preparation on his 2 failed runs, one of them being on a heavy deck at Harwater, and the second one he lost 2 front plates and also over-raced and led, which was just not his race shape. He needs to be off his speed, somewhere in that neutral position.
Any doubts were put to bed last time with him as well,
absolutely. So I don't think it's any fault of the trainer. Maybe Harwater, they should have late scratched there when I think it posted a slow track at the start of the day, but it never was that. It always played to a heavy 10. But look, the concern is whether it's starting or not. There's no jockey, as I mentioned earlier, around Not of the Head. It was down to Run at Our Pony, but obviously with a heavy 10 there at the moment, they've decided to roll the dice at Te Rapa, but a jockey engagement still to be worked out.
Okay.
And Poisson, fourth in the Livin Stakes. I didn't mind its run. Naturally, you'd think it should have caught the leaders because the first, I think, 600 metres, they ran 34.45, which is, on my assessment, 7.8 lengths above par for the first half of the race. So naturally, that would suit horses in that neutral position to finish over the top. But Otaki on that day was playing very, very biased towards leaders. And that was evident. Yeah. It was a race where it should have been set up for neutral horses. Yeah. That wasn't the case. The first, second horse around the turn, Quinella the race. So, look, she's a genuine chance. I think this is her level. I don't know if she's a Group 1 quality horse, Poisson, but this is her chance to grab some black type. But as I mentioned, there's 3 or 4 horses I've declared, and it just shows you the evenness of the race.
The evenness and depth. The more, as I say, the more I look at it, Pops, the more I like it. We haven't even mentioned the Marsh Pair, Run to Perfection, Repose and Repeater. Paul mentioned Packing Rockstar at there, $10. So there's some real depth here. Where did you settle up in the J Swap?
Look, I'm going to go with Brando. I'm happy to give him a chance here with where he sits. And he's drawn well and he races well here. So I'm with him. I do like Vanessa. I thought Vanessa could provide a strong opportunity in the race with a good draw. And now that she's had a couple of runs back, you'd have to have Providence Provides in there somewhere if the horse makes the race. And Dragon Leap. I just want to see Dragon Leap running on, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, exactly. He can do anything. He could do anything. Dragon Leap.
Just with Dragon Leap, because he's drawn an outside gate, so naturally he's going to be in the back third, possibly in the back 1 or 2 and running. Gee, there's a ton of speed in this race. BP, Manrico, Swiss Watch, Providence Provides. If it gets a start, they all want to be in that 1-2 in the map. And then you've got Packing Rockstar, Vigor Winner. They like to put themselves in the first 2 or 3. So there's genuine tempo on this race. So it could be too quick for a horse like Dragon Leap.
Yeah, just get it
And
run
it's
off his
attached
feet.
from the back of the field and been run off its feet over 7 furlongs.
Yeah, that's a good point there. And I mean, like I said, it's just been so long between his runs and with those little issues. So just keen to see him step out and do his thing, and then we can assess him from there.
Yeah, hopefully he's back Dragon Leap, because there was a lot of money from that Hawke's Bay race as well, if I remember correctly. And he didn't run badly by any stretch. Paul, numbers please, and then Jace Rock, where'd you go?
Providence Provides on top, Brando, Packing Rockstar, and I like that fresh up run from Dragon Leap, so he slots on as well.
There, didn't he? Yeah, I can't disagree with you.